Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for this randomised gaming video, Random Gamer Riven. And today we're going to be looking at the PC independently developed title Interstellar Invaders. This was developed by Interstellar Tortoise. Now, in the interest of disclosure, I should confirm to you, the viewer, that Interstellar Tortoise provided us with the Steam key for this title. However, Randomised Gaming does maintain full creative control of the video content. As we were provided with a Steam key, and having double checked the FTC and Advertising Standard Authority's guidelines, I'm just going to tick the little box on YouTube just to be on the safe side about paid promotion, endorsements and sponsorships, because arguably under the FTC rules and I believe the ASA rules, just being provided with a Steam key can be classed as an endorsement. Even if you provide an honest review and you have a very negative thing about it, or a first impressions video as we're doing here, any type of coverage, you do have to declare it by all accounts based on what I've read. So that is something to bear in mind for fellow YouTubers. At the minute, Steam is being inundated with so many games that many of the good games are being drowned out by so many games that are basically Unity asset flips, unfortunately. There are a lot of very cheaply and nastily put together games that just are making bad use of Unity and bad use of assets. I know some other YouTubers have mentioned it quite a lot, but even I'm concerned the sheer number of games being released on Steam now, and a lot of them just have no quality control. I mean, for me personally, if I was a platform holder like Steam, I'd make sure, while I don't like censorship in such that I do think games should be able to tackle adult material and have adult subjects without fear of censorship, they should at least adhere to a certain quality. So they shouldn't be just assets from preloaded store bunged into the tutorial from Unreal and then sold on a shop. And that's one of the problems we're having at the minute. Now, Interstellar Invaders is a really nicely put together. And as I haven't seen many other YouTubers talking about it, I thought, you know what, I'll give this game a quick shout out because I actually really enjoyed playing the demo. So don't just take my word for it. You can actually play the demo at the developer's official website, and I'll include a link in the video description below. But just to show you, this is the start. Now, I should point out, when you initially start, tutorial zone's actually named Defend Earth, and the Defend Earth mode is actually the random mission mode, which is like a rogue dungeon style, randomly generating missions. But that's locked out first till you complete the tutorial. So I'm just going to start the tutorial zone.
They will attack, but your ship is equipped with an impenetrable shield. You've got to do your best to defend our cities, using their firepower against them. The situation is bad, but we've got a weapon. This is the HDRM, the hyper-destructive redirectionable missile. It is risky. The HDRM could destroy our own cities just as easily as the invaders. But what choice do we have? A bit of bad news. You can barely control the HDRM once it's launched. But you can influence its direction with the left and right buttons. I'm told you're the best we've got. Good luck.
Okay, so here we go to the get-go. This is the first mission in the tutorial. In the main game, if you lose all 3 cities, you actually die and have to start over again and you unlock credits. But in this tutorial section, you can actually pick which level you want to start at. So this is actually a good way to get you introduced to the game. So you can probably guess it's basically a bit of Space Invaders mixed with Alleyway, Blockout and Arkanoids. I suppose Galaxian as well, and a missile commander in that the fact you mustn't let the bases get destroyed. And one of the big differences, as I'll show you at the very start, is you can actually curve your ball, which is a really, really nice touch. Now, there are a couple of things that can damage the cities. Some of the aliens will attempt to fall on top. Some will shoot, as you see there, and have to deflect the shots back at them. And also, a perfect example there, my own ball can destroy them if I don't hit it back. So now I need to be really careful because if I lose the 3rd city, it is game over for me. But fortunately, I can just restart the level in this tutorial section. But I'm going to show you a few levels in the tutorial, and then I will show you the actual rogue dungeon mode as well. So I'll just show you. So let's go to the next level. As you can see, there's actually a huge range of enemies, and there's some lovely 8-bit, 16-bit style visuals here, which really is reminiscent of the old arcade games. As you saw in the opening selection bit, this does have both a portrait and a landscape mode. So you can play this in sort of full screen for, I suppose, for arcade fans, it's better known as Tate and Yoko. So just going to quickly start stage 3. Go to the level select here, so it shows you. Ooh, that might be a little bit bugged that one's not crossing off. But as you can see there, all the levels. Now you can just literally jump straight to the boss if you want and complete the tutorial pretty quickly. But I'm just going to show you a selection of these levels. I'll do level 2, but basically you see there you can pick any level you basically want for the tutorial. So it does ease you in nicely. And each of these levels have many of the different enemies. There's quite a big selection of enemies you can play against. So you have to learn how each of the enemies works. Some just shoot, some drop power-ups, some multiply. Some will drop skull icons that will cloak your bat, will damage your bat. There's some really, one freezes your bat even. There's some really great concept here for power-ups. There's some really trippy ones as well. There's one that inverts the whole game for a moment or two, which is quite funny. There's some that change the colour lights display. There's one skull power-up you have to be really careful of that actually destroys all your city. So that's an instant game over. So that one you have to be really wary of. But it's actually a really nicely put together, and it does feel very much like those arcade games like Arkanoids and Alleyway. It plays very, very smoothly, and I really like the fact you can curve the ball. It gives you a really good control, because you can see there I can really, if you get it right, you can really aim for the enemies. One of my gripes with Alleyway, in fact, and Arkanoids is that often you could get a bounce where you just kept missing an enemy, whereas here you can just angle it so that if it looks like it'd be a little bit off like there, you can just target to make sure it gets them. It also enables you to just redirect for when it's coming back. Again, I just directed it there. So that's actually a really nice feature, and it's nice to see them doing some interesting and original ideas here. So these enemies are shielded, and I actually have to bounce the shield off them a few times. The other thing I should say there is the music is provided by a 3 company called No Soap Radio, and basically they're under Creative Commons agreement. I noticed they actually provide music 3 to game developers. They just ask that people provide a credit, so I'll include a credit to their website in the video description as well, but it's nosoapradio.us. It's actually a Facebook page, but that's where you can pick up his selection of pre-sampled music. It's actually some nice music that fits quite well with the game, actually. But it's nice to see people like that supporting developers with things like 3 music and stuff. Because I know there's a lot of independent developers that you can often struggle to. Certainly if you're a coder or just an artist, it can be hard to find someone who's a musician and things like that. So it's great to see indie developers working together across the spectrum. Now, another thing I should point out, although I don't have a second player to play with me, there is a 2-player mode, and you can have 1 player on the keyboard and 1 player on the mouse. By default, the controls are the mouse, and I'm using them to curve, and it just plays really nicely on the mouse. The bat feels smooth, and you can move it across really quickly, which is what you need in the event you have enemy fire and the ball coming back at the same time. And some of the later missions get incredibly hard, where you have lots of shots coming down, so you need to be able to quickly move around. And you feel like you have that speed. Game runs, as far as I can see, at 60 frames a second very nicely, so it does play very nicely and very smoothly. I think if I have one slight gripe, it would be nice if there was a clearing scoring system. So I'm just going to jump ahead if you missed some of the other ones. I believe these enemies at the back are ones that multiply when you hit them, because there are quite a few different types of enemies, which is nice to see. It really does capture the spirit of the older arcade games with how the enemies change as you progress and stuff. And again, we've got different power-ups as well there. Must be the bug artwork on the side art to the left there. It reminds me a little of Yaris, actually, so I'm just going to jump ahead. So we've got a huge range of stages. So there's the teleport, which is actually quite interesting. If I fire the ball into it, it will come out the other side, which is quite a nice thing. Now this stage has got a few power-ups. Ooh. Didn't want that to happen. This is double bat, I believe. I think it's actually triple bat. So you see there, those skull power-ups are really nasty. Each of the skull power-ups, the colour of the skull power-up depends what it will do. So in this case, if you get hit by the primary one, now I need to avoid those red ones. They will instantly defeat me if I do, so I don't want that. And I need to be extra careful that I don't lose my last city as well. The skull power-ups hurt you, the player, they don't hurt the cities. Whereas the enemy shots will damage the city, so that was... So you see there, we've got enemies dropping, so these ones drop towards the city, so you need to intercept them very, very quickly. Oh, mission fail. Okay, level select. Let's jump to one of the really later ones. So you do get some so these enemies split when you hit them, which is quite a nice tactic, and you need to sort of keep in mind. They also start dropping, I believe, so you have to be got to be more careful. But you can also, as I said, show there you can bounce back the shots. So you've got two ways to attack the enemies: bounce back the shots, use your little shield to ram enemies that fall down on top, and of course you can use the ball to take out most of them. But I must admit, it's quite hectic because of how this plays. I often keep going to just want to watch the ball, but because this is a bit more like Galaga and Space Invaders, you do have to watch where the enemies are shooting as well. Because in Alleyway and Arkanoid, traditionally you primarily only have to watch the ball. So this one, you have to be a bit on your guard with how you do things. Those grey tunnels in the background will actually rotate the ball. There's wormholes that will spin the ball, as you see there, so you have to try and avoid them. I've got angled very clever, and those warp portals are quite cool in the way that they throw things out. There are some invisible enemies you do have to be wary of. And I think, I guess what? Let's go back to the level, so I'm just going to jump straight to the final level of the tutorial. So yep, we have a boss stage. My favourite stage is always a nice big boss. Merely this one, just a giant version of one of the existing sprites. It'd be nice that they'd done a unique sprite for this tutorial boss, but haven't played that far into the rogue dungeon one, so I don't know if there's some more cooler bosses. I need to really angle this down a bit more so I can get more onto the boss actually. Just a minute. So yeah, you can actually, if you angle it right, you can have the ball literally go back up without you having to hit it, which is a really nice thing. The ball control in this is really, really well done. And there we go, great work, you passed the tutorial. You've unlocked random mode. And random mode is the full sort of version. So this is the random mode. And this really is a rogue dungeon type thing in that each stage changes, so it counts down how many enemies there are on screen, and each stage changes each time you play it. The other thing is, in this version now, if I lose all 3 cities, I will have to start back from stage 1. You do unlock continues, however, if you earn enough score. But as an arcade game, this does very much feel like it could have actually been an arcade game from the 80s and 90s. It does the early 90s and late 80s. It does play really well, and I really like this. And don't just take my word for it. Give the give the demo a shot on their website. And if you like it, do pick it up. I believe it's priced at $9.99, and I believe it's £7.19 again, and €8.19. It's actually a very, very nice game. If you like this type of arcade game, you will definitely enjoy this. Again, do play the demo. Don't just take my word for it. Do play the demo on Interstellar Tortoise's website, and I'll include all links to the various websites down below. So we've got an invisible enemy left. It's certainly challenging. It's actually good fun in 2-player as well. We have played it in 2-player. I should have recorded some footage when we were playing it in 2-player. Certainly there's lots of fun. I mean, if I have one gripe with this, it's that there's no score system. So if the developers watching this, I do think you probably want to implement a score system at a later date. That's the one thing I think it needs, where you have like a high score menu or just a score to say how many enemies you destroyed, etc. I suppose a survival mode would be quite nice as well, where you just get one endless swarm of enemies keep coming in and you've just got to see how long you can last. That would be something else to perhaps the developers to consider. I believe they are still tweaking the game and making a few minor changes, so hopefully they'll add some more modes into this if this sells well. I mean, this is actually a really nice game, and I should say, as always, a part of the disclaimer, that this video is recorded as of the 18th of August 2018, so the game may well have a number of extras present if you're watching this video in 2019. Yes, if you are a fan of the old 80s and 90s arcade games, definitely pick this one up. It's actually a really nicely put together title. On Steam, I was pleasantly surprised how actually enjoyable it was. And I've played far, far worse that have tried to emulate the retro feel and just got it so wrong. This really does get the retro feel just right. And I think I will leave it there, as I fail again. But yes, I think you have to do about 30 stages in the random dungeon. So far I've only managed to get the halfway achievement. But this has been Interstellar Invaders. It is a very good game. It is out now on Steam. Do pick it up if you like this type of thing. I highly recommend it. I have been your host, as always, Random Gamer Riven. And as always, if you like our content, please hit the like button for this video. And please do subscribe to our channel if you like us. There will be more content coming in the future, as always. And of course, you can hit that bell button if you want more notifications.